Alright, so we've done these older media. Now let's go into the most advanced tetrads in the book. The next tetrad satellite enlarges global information exchange. Remember, the electric environment was the enhancement of information as a service environment, and the satellite enlarges the global information exchange, obsolescence language for images, digital over analog. So that's the what many commentators call the highly visual society. Even though McLuhan meant visual space was print-oriented and abstract, what we call kinesthetic imagery is visual for most people, right? Even though it's very evolving on television and in the computer, it uses the appropriate receptive sense as well. But anyway, that's the dumbing down of America, supposedly. Obsolescence language for images, right?
Yeah, that is right on.
And then the satellite retreats the worldview like the earlier compass. And when it is pushed to extreme, which would be the 70s and 80s, it reverses or flips into iconic fantasies. That could be any megastar, any country, the Reagan era, the neocons, the neoconservatives, they're all living in iconic fantasy land.
Right, that's for sure.
Yeah, you know, can have tribal, institutional imagery. I mean, and then the Android Enron was an iconic fantasy. The whole digital 401ks and all that, as it's turned out. But the point is, McLuhan predicted it 30 years ago. So in the final tetrad, which is called global media networking, which could be the Android meme as I understand it, it says, the global media network enhances instantaneous, diverse media transmission on a global basis. And it also enhances simultaneous planetary feed and counter feed. That's
what is counter feed?
Yeah, that would be Nightline. Ted Koppel's Nightline that started in the Iran crisis, the Khomeini crisis in '79. The constant interacting and getting live reports and commentary constantly, right?
Right, that's right.
They would feed, Ted Koppel, the news station would feed out the information, and then there would be counter-feed response all over the world. So that's a hyper-state of the global theater. So that's what the global media network or Android meme enhances. It erodes, gets rid of human ability to code and decode in real time. Then you get the whatever, what's going on, whatever.
Right.
You can't keep up with it. And actually,
right,
what they should say, it erodes human ability to code and decode because they're talking to you. They don't go that far. And it retrieves the Tower of Babel, or the group voice in the ether. And then it reverses into, the Android meme flips into lots of specialism. Everybody is just making up, winging in whatever profession they supposedly have, making it up. And you see that in the credit card world, in the legal world. And it turns into a programmed Earth. Now, the programmed Earth began in the 80s and 90s. We now have the collapse of the programmed Earth, and therefore the acceptance of it as a nostalgic item, and that's the Obama age. He's programming the Earth. So we give everybody welfare and everything, even though he has no money.
That's right. That's exactly right.
We're beginning to accept, as super civilized, sub-primitive people, a programmed environment, even though as we move into the mystery landscape, we can't program it anymore. So you see, Reagan and Clinton brought in the programmed Earth, but it wasn't accepted. But when it collapsed, and we move into a new landscape, then the old programmed Earth becomes accepted. And that's a big factor in the Obama image.
Oh, yeah. He
they call it socialism, right? Socialism.
That's right, that's right. Now, is there you said that there's a tetrad beyond this. What is that one?
The tetrad, where the Android meme is not talking to us. This last one, global media networking, the tetrad is assuming a human audience for the phenomenon of global media networking. What happens is the Android meme starts talking to itself and doing tetrads within its parts or constituents. And I call that the pentad. That's where humans are not orchestrating and programming the Earth, but the Android meme is programming itself for itself.
Wow.
That's the idea that technology's come alive and imitating the most advanced National Security Agency programming. You know, the Tetrad was used by the intelligence communities, and when Gorbachev first met President Bush in 1989 after the wall went down, I think it was December '89, he asked from Bush, Gorbachev wanted what was called the sociological algorithms. That was their term for the Tetrad, because he knew that the Soviet Union was going to start breaking up, and he wanted to anticipate all the effects of that. And so he asked Bush to give them their tetradic management situation called sociological algorithms. It was invented by an intelligence person in the 80s in Baltimore who was not aware of the Tetrad as McLuhan laid out. McLuhan was not known too well in the 80s. But when the Laws of Media came out a year before this book, The Global Village came out, he said, wow, that's what I did, and this guy McLuhan had it before me, 10 years before. So anyway, that's a side thing. Now, when you get into the 90s and after 2000, Y2K and all that, you have the Android meme gone, and so then it becomes an obvious pentatic living apparatus, and people start to accept it. What happened today is the pentatic collapsed, and we're moving into what I call the hexadic, Hexadic, the sixth level, which is cold fusion and the mystery landscape. So we may be able to go. We should probably go over that again. Okay, what do we do next?
Okay, I want to go back and when you were talking about this final tetradic model there, you're saying that it's writing its own programs. What do you mean? Are you referring to like artificial intelligence? It's Android Beam is doing its own thing now.
Yes, when Gorbachev asked for the Tetrad formula from George Bush after the Berlin Wall went down, that is his KGB and his managers trying to adapt, to adjust to what will happen when the Lithuania and those other countries start to feel their independence. How will they deal with the process? What will it flip into? What will it retrieve? It obviously retrieve the kinds of tribal nationalism. That would be one simple thing. The point is, within 2 years, Gorbachev is gone, right? He's gone. So the tetradic, he wanted the tetradic formulas, and that's human management of society. That's like programming your country. That was obsolete by the time you get in the 90s, because some other level that Gorbachev couldn't keep up with was the tetradic management by the Android meme technology, living a life of its own. It's very hard to say how this is, but when you watch TV in the 90s, it's just unrolling information constantly. And people are feeding on it, and it doesn't seem to have any link to any community standards or what are we trying to find out. And in the 90s, people started to say, well, heck with the centralized media. I'm going to go on Jerry Springer and act like an idiot. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're not. The people, intuitively in the pop culture, were realizing that it didn't matter what you did in the public media. It didn't threaten your credit rating or your privacy or anything. It wasn't there for human scale, so people acted up and acted out on the media. As a response to the fact the media were not talking to anybody, but it was talking among its parts. And so Enron and those companies that collapsed in Wall Street, they were sending media environments around the world and trading them, and yet they didn't have any control of it. And they couldn't measure whether they're making any money or not. They would get long and granular profits.
Right, that's right.
The whole bizarre economy since the early 90s under Android meme conditions, the way you would summarize it to someone, you explain to your grandchildren, you say, well, technology just took on a life of its own and started trading, bartering and moving goods around the world, but there was no way to measure it because it was dominated by the digital exchange. So that's another way of saying that media, it ain't for us. But now it's collapsed and the heavens are rejoicing, and we now can break through, bring on martial law, get over all the fear projections, and organize our own society. It's become human scale with our media. Even the Android meme pentatic phase has dropped. That's what I mean we moved into hexadic. We moved into an amazing new situation which is filled with potential. It's positive.
I wish people would see that. I also want to ask, what did it?